When we first bring a horse into the Saddlebred Rescue program, the first thing we need to do is evaluate them. It starts as early as loading the horse in the trailer, seeing if it stands tied, if it rides in the trailer nervous, how easy it is to unload, and just the fact that we can lead it to and from different places. Once it's in the program, we bring them in, we groom them, and all this time we're taking note on whether they're easy to handle or not. After they're cleaned up, we will then saddle them and make sure they stand quietly. This horse is very interested in what the rider's doing, but he's standing very quietly. It's important for us to note each horse's habits as far as when they're being prepared to work, because a lot of these horses will go into what we call lesson programs, and those programs include little kids brushing them. So we need to know which horses are suitable for that. So ground manners is a huge importance. We use special girths for the first time when they come into this. They're fuzzy and we don't put them on very tight, as some horses tend to feel that and get extra tight or nervous with it. These horses have already had their temperatures checked, and we do catalog them in as far as markings and age. As we get a horse ready to work, you're going to notice that our handler is putting what we call splint boots on and bell boots. The bell boots go along the hoof to protect it from the back foot hitting it, and the splint boots, which are white, go up higher on the leg and will keep that horse, if he goes close and hits his leg with his other foot, it will keep him from injuring himself. We will make a note on that as to what the horse needs as far as with work. We also measure them to get a height. We do have a measuring stick, and this is done on every horse that comes into the property. After the horse has been prepared, we will bridle them, and we use a smooth snaffle, because I've noticed most of the horses that drive on the road use these smooth snaffles. So we put this mild bit in to mimic what they're used to, and we'll note whether he's hard to bridle or this horse is scored really very high in my book as far as easiness to handle. It'd be nice if he put his head down a little lower, but I'm sure he can be taught that. When we get ready for the next step, we do pull the stirrups down so they flop alongside the horse, and he will head out to the arena. After we bring him into our indoor arena, we lunge them. First we determine if they know how, and obviously this horse does. It's very good at it. He's happy and willing to do this. And we will go both directions. Our main goal for this is to determine if the horse is going to buck or throw a fit when they have a saddle on. We've had about 4 or 5 that once you bring them out and go to lunge them, just absolutely will not wear a saddle. And if they get that point, we do not put a rider on them at that point in time. Once we're sure that the horse is comfortable with the arena and the saddle, we put a rider on. We do use a mounting block, as a lot of programs and people do use them. This horse does have a header, as you can see, but he is standing extremely quiet. He's not even worried about the rider getting on, which tells me he's been in a saddlebred training program in his younger life and he remembers it. Saddlebred Rescue really counts on the training they've had before they've been on the road, and the horses have a tremendous memory, so it doesn't take much for them to remember what they used to do 10, 12 years ago even. And this is what we hope to get as a horse that has been worked by a saddlebred trainer at some point. And then we hope that the training that was done early on was done correctly, that a horse doesn't have any problems. What we found is if a horse comes in, goes into the driving world because of problems a lot of these horses, when they don't have their blinkers on, it kind of confuses them at first and they wander. They look for a straighter path to go on than what they see. But this horse seems to be very confident with it. Now we normally ride these horses longer, but I've done a shortened version for you. So again, we're seeing if he flat walks, and if you notice he'll stick or stop just a little bit. That's not a bad thing. It's just that he's trying to figure out what he's doing. He is looking to the middle a little there. That's usually he's getting used to not having blinkers on. Some horses will not reverse, as what we just did on the rail. They will want to turn away from the rail. And that goes back to if they pull the carriages, they couldn't turn that sharp. So they're used to turning in a larger circle. Again, this horse seems to remember quite easily what he did before. This is a horse that we picked up in Kinzers, Pennsylvania, and came in very good shape. We will keep the family notified with pictures and where he gets placed if they ask. After he's walked quietly, which he did, Aaron has asked him to step up into a trot. We usually can get the horses to do these two gaits, the walk and the trot. So we start them first so that they're calm and relaxed. If you notice, every once in a while this horse takes kind of a shorter step behind, which may mean that he's showing his age a little bit. This horse is around 15 years old. It's possible that he'll need to be on a joint supplement or possibly an injection. He's not showing a lot of this short stepping, so we might just let him have a little rest and see if the footing in our arena works to him and he squares up at the trot. This horse is very easy to get to walk, which is a plus. Right now we have a piece of paper that we fill out. We use 1 through 5, and 5 is the best they can be. This horse is scoring very, very high. He's scoring 4 pluses and 5s. The next thing Aaron will ask him to do is canter. These horses are taught a cue, and we're going to see if he remembers it. So she's turning his head slightly to the rail. He did remember it. He kind of started out, and right through there, he's a little what we call pacey. So that either means that he was gaited at one time in his life where he was taught to rack and slow gait, or that possibly a hock or part of his back leg is a little sore, which might cause him to also short step. We usually go around more than this, but again, we've shortened this. You notice he had a very good stop. All Aaron said was whoa, and he came down, which is very important for horses that are used in teaching other people to ride. It's nice to have a horse that when you say whoa will stop in case a rider is out of control. Now Aaron just asked this horse to canter, and he was a lot better, which means to me he's probably more comfortable cantering on this lead. So if he does not get more even and his canter the first direction that we went still seems a little mixy-gated, we would possibly have our vet come out and see what actions to take to help this horse be more comfortable. We do not keep the horses at Saddlebred Rescue on any kind of painkillers such as bute or banamine, and most of them are not kept on any supplements unless it's a requirement for their makeup, their physical makeup, such as a thyroid or pituitary medicine. We do ask them to back, and what we found is just about every horse that comes off the road backs readily, which is nice. And the last test we will do after Aaron rewards him is she will dismount, and we will see if he'll stand quietly.